I met my wife at a bar, all right? Didn't know her from a can of paint. And at the time when we met, I was living with an ex at the time. And so my relationship journey really is very simple, straightforward. I'm lying like a mug, man. No. It's not simple, straightforward, but it's like as follows. I went into the nonprofit realm, had the opportunity to, funny enough, work at after-school centered. I worked at a nonprofit agency in Durham, and they had grants from the Department of Education. And they also had some grants from the state of North Carolina, 21st Century grants. And I was a site coordinator at Hillside High School. Shout out to all y'all that I met during that time period. I had an opportunity to try to do something that I felt it filled a void that didn't exist, that existed when I was at that phase. And when I was in high school, I thought about like what would have maybe helped me get to that next level. And it just wasn't as common for me. And so being able to go back, just talk to students, I was like 22. I got an after school room full of students where you can't just tell these kids what to do. Like you 22 to 18, some of them bigger than you. Like, come on, man. It's a respect thing. And just to have the respect of those folks meant a lot to me. And they gave me an opportunity just to help them. And we didn't even as so much focus on academics, but we just talked about things. And so I really started to develop a skill set in learning and development at that point professionally. And I continued to build on that. So that's just one foundation. But creatively, I was still making music, figuring out my craft, trying to figure out my voice, my sound. That combination of having a voice while also being able to work with people, different types of people, and have common respect for everyone involved in the process is something that I've been able to excel at, for a long time. So when I look at my background professionally and creatively, that's one thing. And then when I look at my personal background, I'm very much a unicorn in several ways. What is this? I met my wife at a bar, all right? Didn't know her from a can of paint. And at the time when we met, I was living with an ex at the time. And so my relationship journey really is very simple, straightforward. I'm lying like a mug, man. No. It's not simple, straightforward, but it's like as follows. My first real high school relationship was when I was in probably 10th grade, and it lasted maybe all of 60 days, give or take, right? And so lasting all of 60 days is one thing. You learn from one thing. And so one thing about me as it relates to like me personally is that I really try not to make the same mistakes. And I have, issues that I've had to learn to cope and deal with that are triggering. Even with those issues, it's important to not let these things impact how you show up in relationships. That is so key. That's why I think a lot of us struggle with the idea of marriage, partners, etc. But me, I've always been like a serial monogamist. I had that relationship 10th grade, and then I went to the 11th grade. That relationship was maybe 6, 7, 8, 9 months, something like that. But then I got in a relationship that was like the high school sweetheart relationship. It was very much a 7-year-ish sort of on and off growing up learning experience. Before I met my wife, I was definitely at a unique place, and again was staying with that ex. We had broken up, we were living together, and every person that I met at that time, I made a point to tell them I'm staying with my ex because I'm just open. Again, a superpower of mine. I don't play around with stuff like that. So in being open, I met my wife at a bar, didn't know her from a can of paint.